And they're just saying, look, if you're tired of the crap, which I think it's fair to say a lot of people are, can we just live in harmony and not like have to be just so crazy far-fetched one way, just make candy?
Relative Rants. We're here today. We're going to be ranting. I'm on set with my friend Kyle Lawson. Kyle's got some things new in his life, but he hasn't been with us with Relative Rants for a while.
It's good to be back.
Yeah.
It's good to be back.
But if you're local with this and you want to go to Man Cave at 2300 East Brundage Lane, Kyle's going to be helping me with Man Cave. He's got some new things in his life, which we're going to not talk about today, but he's got some things that are going on. So pretty cool. So I'm really excited here. I have my dog Oliver, because Oliver is getting some training, and we're going to be going down to LA right after the podcast. So he might. He's really good right now.
He may make an appearance.
Yeah,
he just might pop his head up, and he's too big to hide.
Yeah.
So that's why we have to give the disclaimer.
Yeah.
If you see a giant animal pop up, that's fine.
Yeah, we're not in peril, that's for sure. So he's there. So he's a rescue dog, which I'm so excited about to be able to do that in a breed, which is pretty cool. So we're here today on Relative Rants, and we're going to start out with one of our friends. What they're doing over the Daily Wire. My daughter is the manager of talent there, so she manages Ben Shapiro and Jeremy and Candace and Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles and a lot of our friends over there.
Yeah.
So
it's an exciting job.
Yeah, it is. Cool. She has a lot of fun. We have a lot of collaboration with them, but they're involved with something. And Hershey's came out the other day. They're the candy bar maker, and they came out for Women's Month, and they decided to feature a new candy bar called She, kind of a play on words. I like that, you know.
Yeah, they're getting creative.
Yeah, they are. But the thing that it kind of takes another turn for, because they're talking about women, it's the Women's Month this month of March, is that they featured a trans woman on it.
Yeah.
Now,
what's funny, they want to identify her and she and woman for Women's Month, but then if you watch Matt Walsh's documentary, no one knows what that means anyways.
And Matt did a great job.
Isn't that funny? It's like,
with what is a woman?
We're celebrating Women's Month, and what does that mean exactly? We don't know.
Yeah, you go to a women's conference or a feminist thing, and no one can tell you what a woman is. But you go to Africa. It's really a great documentary. And you ask the Africans, what is a woman? They look at you like,
they're like,
it's pretty obvious.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Yeah.
So our friends over at the Daily Wire came up with a idea. It's called Jeremy's chocolate, and they're offering two styles, one with nuts and one without.
Yeah.
So I guess you have to figure out which is which, right?
Yeah. It's really easy to tell when you break something down in its simplest form what it is.
Yeah. So they're out there, and I'm here to tell you, because I have connection to the Daily Wire, they're up over 500,000 candy bars pre-ordered.
And you know what the beauty about that is?
I love that.
It's great, but the funniest part about it is it's just fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's funny. But what it is people are, the reason so many people can get behind something like that's like 2 days before they were not chocolate makers, right?
No.
Like, but it's like people could get behind it because they're just tired of the games and the nonsense. So they're like, all right, you guys want to play ball? Let's play ball. We'll have fun with it.
Yeah.
And it works. It works.
Well, they're going to make money, because all they're saying in their advertising is, if you're tired of giving your money to woke companies, which we're going to use the word woke because it's generally accepted. We know what they're talking about. And Hershey, come out and supports it. So Jeremy's saying, we're not going to support it.
Yeah.
It's a choice, right?
It's the same. It's just a choice.
It's a choice. Hershey's. I went out and I bought some Hershey's right after this came out, and my daughter works for our friends at the Daily Wire. And it's not that I'm not supporting them, but I was at a store and I like some Hershey products.
Yeah.
So I will support Jeremy, and every once in a while I'll go in and need a candy bar fix and buy a Hershey's. But they're saying that we're boycotting. I didn't boycott.
Yeah.
I'm still buying Hershey's, but
if I see a Hershey's bar with some almonds in it, I'm not going to say I'm not grabbing it.
I agree.
You just want to be able to just live life without having to side with an agenda. And I think that's what the Daily Wire is doing. They're just like playing, they're just returning fire in a fun, friendly way. And they're just saying, look, if you're tired of the crap, which I think it's fair to say a lot of people are. Can we just live in harmony and not
Yeah.
like have to be just so crazy far-fetched one way? Just make candy. Just make candy. That's all you have to do.
I was called something the other day, which was an acronym, and it was WASP. I didn't know what it was, White Anglo-Saxon Protestant. And I go, could you break that down? They
Am
go,
I one too?
yeah, yeah.
No,
yeah.
seriously.
Yeah, you are.
Oh, okay.
Because because you meet all the criteria. You're white, you're an Anglo-Saxon American, and you're a Protestant.
Okay.
So
You
I think
learn something new about
I
yourself
think
every
you
day.
do. Because I told this individual, I go, you need to watch what you're saying because I'm going to tell you something that you may not know. Because when they said, well, you identify racist, I'm like, my daughter's name is Tessa Jimenez. She is the manager for the Daily Wire. My son-in-law is Hispanic, and they're not far away from being immigrants.
Yeah.
And
My stepdad is half Hispanic and half
so,
Indian.
so what's going to happen is my grandchildren, which Tessa and Danny are going to produce when they have their plan met. They got a 5-year plan. But my grandkids are going to be half. They're going to be half Hispanic and half white.
And doesn't that just anger you?
Oh, it makes it pissed me off. Can I say that word?
No, I'm
Can
saying.
I say that word?
No,
When
I'm
this person called me that.
No, I'm being very sarcastic. Like, oh, I'm so angry that.
Oh,
Come on,
No,
it's like
no.
you're not a. For someone to say that you're a racist because you're a what? Come on.
I was
Anyone
like,
who knew you for a second would know that's crap.
they wanted to leave this page quickly. I go, no, we're not leaving this page quickly.
Yeah.
I go, let's talk about what you just said because I wanted to be here to help you understand that I want to be a person that battles things. I want things to be equitable.
Yeah.
I want them to be. I have daughters.
Yeah.
We're daughter dads.
Yep.
When people come to me and they'll say, "Don't you want women's rights?" I go, "Yes, I do."
Of course.
But let's slow down the conversation because I says when it comes to the vaccine, I want my daughters to be able to choose because they're childbearing years, and we're finding out that it jacks with the reproductive system of young women. New evidence is coming out, right?
Yeah, all of the conspiracy theories from 2 years ago are somehow starting to check out. That's very ironic.
Isn't it? So I know I've jumped subjects, but these are important things to talk about because I told them I'm very interested. Now, you and I are both daughter dads. I would like my daughters to have equity. If they're going to do a job of a man, they should get paid for it.
Sure.
Sure. I believe that. But I said if you're talking about their choice to terminate a baby, now we're going to slow the conversation and we're going to take that out and put it in a new category.
And it's because I think that's where you cross lines and you're no longer talking about the individual. You're talking about multiple individuals at that point.
I mean, you would have the same conversation with your kids going, hey, that is not part of our value system.
Sure.
So I think you have to be careful on what you say. And I think not you personally, but people out there listening. And then we have to be able to explain it, right, Kyle?
Yeah.
And I think that's part of our show here is saying, hey, we live on both sides of, the conversations, right?
Yeah. And what is it they're saying that the origins of COVID-19, it's starting to be confirmed unofficially or officially that it was a lab leak?
Well, I think it's officially because it's coming out of people that are dealing with the, China, Wuhan, all that stuff. And isn't it funny that the WHO, World Health Organization, calls on the U.S. to share the information on COVID-19 origins after the China lab claims?
Yeah.
It's like this isn't. Here's Oliver. Yeah, he
wanted to make a guest appearance. He had an opinion.
Yeah.
We don't know what it is yet, but he had an opinion.
Yeah. So Oliver, you need to sit down and you lay down. Yeah, down. Show him how well you behave. Down. Yeah, he's like not doing it. There you go. There you go. Good boy. So but the WHO's wanting to they want us to turn over the what would you call it? The info, the 411.
The crazy thing to me is that in the beginning of this, which no one knew anything, right? Nobody knew anything about COVID-19, like concrete wise, but yet everybody was so firm and concrete in their beliefs. Like, there's no way this was a lab leak. You're a racist if you say that. You're this. And it's like, well, hold on. Can we not just have an open-minded conversation and talk about the possibility? And then now it's coming forward. It's like, well, all the racists for assuming. And I'm tired. Like, that word is just so overused. And it's like, it's just silly. It's like, okay, we can at least explore all options here
Well,
without being called an insulting name that isn't even true, you know?
my daughter Taylor, she's played college tennis at the highest levels, and so this week she had tickets to go to the Desert Springs
Yeah.
tennis classic, the pro thing here, and Djokovic is not allowed to play because he hasn't got the vaccination. Number one player in the world in tennis is now disallowed for playing in a tennis match in America. He just finished. He won one, and he's disallowed from playing.
Yeah.
Because he's in America. It's like let's be consistent out there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it, and let's stand up for things that matter and things that don't. Okay.
Right.
And I want to have conversations with everybody. You know, we got Columbia University that permanently drops SAT and ACT.
Now, how do you think that how do you think that changes things?
You know, I don't know. I mean, basically, it's what they're saying is that not everybody's been given the same opportunities with scoring, and I would beg to differ on that because my wife's a superintendent at a public school system, and she says you have to know where kids are ranging with their education.
Yeah,
you put them
certainly.
in a classroom. You need to know. Now, if they haven't had, I don't know, maybe their school was not right or something, but they're saying the SAT and ACT aren't fair across the board to everyone. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of new to me. I mean, my kids took it, and it was used to get them into classes, and they both graduated. And so I think if you permanently drop something like that, then how do you start it again?
So, and really, here's an interesting.
Is there a back door for this thing? You know,
what's interesting to me is because the angle is that it's not fair because of different upbringings, right?
Yeah.
And I could relate to that.
And
because,
racial. We'll just throw the word out.
Yeah, and race and upbringing and all that. But what's interesting to me, irrelevant to upbringing, irrelevant to race, everyone thinks and understands and processes differently. You're looking at a guy who graduated high school. I don't think I checked out one textbook. To this day, the only.
And you're very successful in business.
And I own a bit somehow. But you know what? I take a test. I fail it. It was if I was in, I would take a test.
I'm not a good test taker.
I was lucky to just graduate high school, but yet give me, adjust to my learning style and give me something that I actually care to know about. Oh, and I'm the most well-prepared person in the world.
Well, get this. I failed the test to get me into computer science in the 70s because they just didn't know what to do. So they were giving some logic tests and things like that. I failed it the first couple of times. Yeah. They didn't teach that in school.
Yeah.
And I just was persistent and kept coming back, kind of going, okay, I'll catch on to this pretty soon. And finally I got in, and I got my degree in computer science. So
all these SATs, whenever I took mine, I did horrible on all those tests. I remember them. I did horrible on all tests.
Tests scared the daylights out of me when they'd come to test at school.
That and me, I'd read the question and I'd go, wait, what did it just ask? I'd read it again. I'm like, wait, hold on. What is it asking again? And that happened 2 or 3 times. I'm finally like, oh, well, A looks good. and it's just like, does that mean that the test should be abolished because I had no knowledge of? No way. You still need it.
Yeah,
I agree. Totally still need it.
You got to have some measuring stick. What is it going to be? Now, that's what my wife's saying.
Yeah.
She goes, we have to measure these students because we don't want to do them a disservice by passing them along like they've been known to do.
Yeah.
So my wife put a few things in, and I like that. It's kind of cool. So one of those things, hey, tell us in the comments whether you like it or not. So, yeah, so, it's so crazy. We're in California. I'm sitting here today. I came in, and we just got a alert. My radio, that alert you get, national alert, I just got an alert that there's flooding. Well, how far is Visalia from us? Not 90 miles, is it?
I mean, that might be far.
So
it's not far.
California has no water problem. I'm telling you that. No water problem.
We've had a lot of water. In fact, we have so much, I think we just run it off into the ocean.
Well, LA River, if you want to go see some interesting things, and I think LA does a better job than San Francisco, the Bay Area, retaining their runoff. And when it gets to the LA River, which is called an LA River that runs right down LA, which is bone dry all the time. I can't say, when's the last time you crossed the LA River and it's had water in it?
Oh gosh, I can't recall.
Maybe this much.
Yeah.
But it's rushing like a river 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
People disappeared because they were in there when the water came down. I think
Well,
they were
Lake
doing some
Nasamino,
rescues.
I don't know if this is factual, but I trust the source. They said that that lake went from, I mean, so rough that you couldn't even get a boat in there to now there's so much water they're having to drain it. They're having to start draining water.
So what we have is we have these people saying there's a risky feedback loop
Mm-hmm.
with accelerating climate change. Scientists warn. I'm like, okay. You know, they keep telling us about climate change. I'm telling you, you know, this is me. You guys heard me say it before. I know that the Earth and the land mass and climate changes just because what I've been shown about the continents separating, the ice age. I get that. So, I mean, you're not giving me any new material when you say that. I was in farming for 16 years, so I paid attention to that, seasons, that kind of stuff. But they're saying now that the U.S. has plenty of drinking water. It's simply in the wrong place. Hello, it's always been in the wrong place. I mean, you know, it rains and it floods in Nashville, and we have a drought in California. And it runs out in the river, and I'm going to say, okay, yeah, I agree with that. But they're talking about the logistical problems and how they're going to solve it, which I think if you look at Israel, they did a great job by desalinating the water from the ocean and then letting it go back to its natural source when it gets used and it gets back in the atmosphere and gets redumped in the ocean.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. I think we have a funny, I have a picture. If you're going to give us heat, give me heat for it. So here's a picture of the Plymouth Rock. In 1620, this was the sea level. In 1920, the Plymouth Rock still is at sea level. 2023, current event, you can go find this rock right now.
So you're saying
It's still at the sea.
just a couple years later, just a couple years later, it's still sea level. So you think about
We're
this.
talking 400 years, right? I mean, if I'm doing my math right, you know, a few years off of 400.
Yeah.
And hey, you could, if you want to go check this out and you're over there, go look at it because it's still hanging tight.
So you think about this too.
Glaciers are melting. It's happening right now. We're saying, oh my gosh, you know, we're going to lose our glaciers and stuff. And they are melting and they are changing, but the ocean level's staying the same.
Yeah, and this is an interesting thought, and obviously I think about this because I own a real estate company. I'm in real estate; it's what I do. But you think about this: the most expensive real estate in the world is usually coastal properties,
Yes, it
and
is.
these coastal properties are right on the edge of the ocean,
And,
right?
and they still sell insurance for those rascals.
These banks
They
still
bill
loan
on-
on them. The insurance still covers them. Do you think that a smart individual, these people that know way more than we do, you know, they're going to give a $50 million loan on something that in 3 years is going to be demolished, or in 2 years the foundation is going to be destroyed by water?
Yeah.
It's like you kind of start thinking about things like that, and you're like, I think this is just a scare tactic.
You know, it's
And
so,
I don't argue that the climate's changing. I want to make that clear. I don't argue that it's not changing a little bit, but do I think that like in 3 years we're going to be 40 feet below water, you know, on the coast? I don't think that's right. You know,
when I was in school, they were saying that California was going to drop off. I was worried about that.
I've always been
That,
raised.
that we
hearing
were
that
going to drop off
Bakersfield-
into the ocean. I was always worried about that.
We're 100 so miles away from the coastline right here in Bakersfield. I've always been told that Bakersfield is going to be oceanfront property, or beachfront property.
And you're being real estate. You're like, bring it on.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I am not putting any stock in that because I do not think that is going to be the case. So
I love that. But talking about California, like our governor or not, we have to pray for him because the Bible says pray for our leaders.
yeah, we're
But I'm
supposed
not
to.
sure about this guy. Wow. I mean, you know,
This isn't new knowledge that you're not sure about him.
I'm just saying San Francisco is a wreck. It was a wreck when he was the mayor of San Francisco. It's a wreck now that he's governor of California. I mean, you know, just check out the guy's history. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, he might run for president. So I go, on his record? Don't you have to do something to make it happen? I mean, now we're ranting. You get me started on this. Hey, I won the Mr. California title in bodybuilding, and when I moved to Tennessee, I want to give it back. I don't want that to be held against me. When,
Yeah.
you know, but people like, you know, people say in Tennessee
That's
that
funny.
you know you take off your
funny.
California driver's license. I go, so if they find out I'm Mr. California in 1985, do I own this? I mean, I don't want to be saddled with that version. I mean, I know it's
Just
bodybuilding.
don't say the state.
I know.
It was,
Well, they can look
it
it
was
up.
Mr. Something.
They could look it up on the internet. But so our governor has come up with a thing. So Walgreens has said we're not going to sell the morning after pill in states that don't want it. That's what they're saying. And now Governor Newsom his statement comes after the company said it would not sell abortion pill in 21 states due to illegal restrictions. And basically he says, well, we're going to not do business with them. And then I mean, get over it.
Again, it's one of those things.
You could sell the pill in the in California.
Yeah.
Yeah. Governor Newsom has no problem with that.
Well, it's just worry about what's in front of you. Why is he concerned with anything else? And secondly, like, you don't get to just own all of this like a monopoly. Different states have differing opinions, and people want different things.
Walgreens made a decision.
Yeah, look, in his state, he's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're unaffected. Why is that your business?
Yeah. Well, and I know the statement he wants to make is they want everybody to be on one page. I mean, and I think that's the problem. You know, and there again, I was a Democrat before I was a Republican. I didn't leave my party. My party left me. I always tell that people. I mean, that was me. I mean, check me out. I'm the bubble in the middle for our show, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I believe in humanity. I believe in people. I believe all human beings need Jesus Christ, gift of salvation from the cross. But I believe in humanity and I believe in people. I think we always will come back to stuff. But I'm not one size fits all. You know, and so here we have Governor Newsom. You know, making all of his decisions. Our homeless problem is worse after all of his changes. But they just had a bill in California that was going to allow the law enforcement to give more years to violent criminals. There was a thing on violent criminals to stay in prison because we have a problem in California, and I do believe the United States. Lori Lightfoot, hey, we talked about this last week on Relevant Rants. She lost the mayoral election, not even the election, the primary, in Chicago because she's a lousy mayor. They got the highest crime rate, and they're still going after gun laws.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you lost it because she was the only incumbent in Chicago that didn't get reelected in 40 years.
Yeah.
So she's blaming
that
on
means
her
you're
being
doing
black.
wrong.
She's blaming on her being black and gay. And I'm like, take a little deeper look. So California lawmakers blocked a bill that would have brought in a little steeper prison sentence, which it should be. I was a chaplain at the Wasco State Prison I was a chaplain at any prison in California. And so I talked to the inmates. I was there for a decade. And still I started testing, had a reaction to the TB test. And it was from being tested every year. My doctor said, Tom, don't do it anymore because you don't have TB. We took an x-ray of your lung, but you're risking yourself. So I had to back out of being a chaplain in the prison system. Completely did, but I did enough chapels out there that there are some violent people in there.
Yeah.
And in California, we've been letting them out and not even putting them in prison. We've talked about that before. But in one sense, you'll come after a company making good business decisions. You know, our friend Kevin McCarthy, which is our friend, and our show's friend and our local Bakersfieldian, they're passing some great laws. They just passed a bill to go to the president for his signature to bring out ESG out of insurance. ESG is environmental, social, or governance over liabilities. They're saying you have to think about how these products will be affected by environmental or social. How in the world are you going to figure that one out? Or governance before you even allow it to be. So you have, so we have Kevin passing a bill through all the parties, and you're taking ESG out of insurance, and hopefully Biden will sign it because it's smart. We don't need to be making business decisions on those things. We don't know what the social issues are, or the environmental issues are, or the governance issues. But here they're saying people who are violent and use guns shouldn't get more time.
Yeah.
What? I mean, there's a difference, right? I mean, you bring
huge difference. It's like
you bring a gun in. That means you want to use it, and you should be tacked on a little more for doing that.
So naturally, you would think that, like, as a society, you want to like make things better. And I don't know. You just, like I said, I think I made the comment earlier. You take things down to its simplest form. Disincentivize crime. Well, how do you do that? You make the punishment kind of bad.
Yeah.
You don't lighten it.
You don't.
If anything, you make it worse, and it's like.
You don't throw the baby out of the bathwater. And here's in California, we're closing prisons down,
Yeah.
letting inmates out. And I could talk to you.
I'm all for, just reasonable and fair justice, right? Like I don't think that, like I'm not just this guy that like throws the book at like I
Yeah.
believe, but like come on, gun violence and
Yeah.
stuff like that's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Yeah,
Big deal.
it's not something you just dismiss as if it's no biggie.
Yeah. I mean, so hey, California, rock it. I mean, we can live in this state, but I mean, don't come out against something that really doesn't affect you.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know Newsom wants to run for president, so I think he wants to make that statement now. But hey, if you're out there and you're going to vote for Newsom after his record,
just come live in California
just
first.
visit San Francisco. If you want to check out our state that we're doing this show from, come to our state before. Go to LA, go to San Diego, check out our homeless population after we spend hundreds of millions of dollars. Hey, we're still spending money on it, but I love it because I still work with the homeless population in Bakersfield. We have the Navigation Center, which is a low barrier center that we send Bible studies into every week, 2 of them. So we're all about the homeless, but let's get it together from the top down, and let's don't jump in at the middle and bring, and hey, you know what? If for everybody, and I know Governor Newsom, you've come from a great lineage of politicians.
Yeah.
So if you can leave some of your politics, where they should be, and then listen to maybe all the people, not just who you want to listen to, or who you. I know you don't want to listen to people you're driving out of your state. I mean, that's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Californians, we're
it's
losing.
A mass exodus
we're
state.
we're losing more. I talked to some people the other day who are more involved in this than I am. They're saying, well, it's no big deal because we're going to have the immigration fix that problem.
It's become
and I'm like,
clockwork.
what?
It's
So you're okay with immigrations being a no barrier, and that's how you're going to fix people leaving.
Yeah. On my end, on the real estate side, it's clockwork. Someone says to me, hey, we're thinking about selling or we're selling. First thing I say, which state are you going to?
Yeah.
Is it Tennessee or is it Texas
Florida
or Utah? And occasional Florida. And it's funny because that's about 20%.
Well,
20%
people
of
ask
people.
me, are you leaving California because you're wanting to exit this? I go, no, I love California.
Yeah.
God's calling me to Tennessee.
Yeah.
Well,
you're the exception. You're doing it. But other people are just tired of the way it's
They
being here.
are.
Well, they're tired of being taxed. They would like to retire and have money. Like you're following a different calling, and I'm not saying that these other people don't have the justified reason, but the reality is a lot of people
They just want
a change of lifestyle.
So-
they want a change of scenery.
So Governor Newsom wants to tax us all, even when we leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll
talk about that later.
Hey, Kyle, thank you for being on the show. Oliver, you've been great. I know you're antsy. You want to get down there because he's got some training to do today, and he's like, oh yeah, let's roll. And
It's fun.
Thank you. I loved it. Hey,
Yeah.
if you're in Bakersfield, you want to see Kyle talk about some things he's been going through over the last 3-4 weeks.
I look like I'm doing well, but I'm recovering right now. So
Well, hey, Man Cave, VBF, 2300 East Brundage Lane. You'll hear more of that story. Hey, love you guys. We're here for Relevant Rants, 511 Media Group, where we believe in faith, family, and freedom. And we believe in that with Christianity. But if that's not what your cup of tea is, I understand that. Rock your faith, whatever what's so crazy? I'm going to say this, and I'm not going to rant on it. But people who don't believe anything believe in something, right?
always.
You believe in
Even
something.
disbelief is belief in something.
It is. So, hey, faith, family, and freedom. You need freedom. You need your family. And you do need a faith-based philosophy. God bless.
God bless.